Hi, welcome to the 36th episode of Old Guys, Gentlemen Flippers. And what I'm going to be doing today is something a little bit different. I'm not going to be reviewing a knife. I've been spending a lot of time sharpening my knives and participating in some of the forums. Blade Forums is a really good one, .com. And also one that's pretty active is Edge Snobs in the on Facebook. And I sharpened this Briate recently, and although I've used it a few times so it's not as pristine as before, I was showing off the mirror edge I got, and I took some USB microscope pictures of the edge, and they were pretty amazing. Some of the areas of this thing have almost no scratches at all at kind of a viewing of around close to somewhere between 100 and 200x, and I'll explain why the variation there. And a lot of people wanted to know how did I do that, what model USB did I use. It made me think, well, I should put together a video of how do you check the progress of your edge, and how do you check the evenness of the bevel as you're working along. And so that's what this video is about. So to start off with, the first tool you have is your eyes. You can tell, and this is a view through my my iPhone camera, but it's about what my eyes see. And you can go back and forth and with a good light. And what I have is a nice LED light that I can either put on one side or the other, or looking straight down on top of it. And I can tell if the bevel edge is about even to the eye. And really, that's any sane person, that would be more than enough. The next thing I look for is when I'm sharpening, you sharpen so your bevels are the same and that you develop a nice burr before you go on to the next stone. But the other thing that you do before you go on to the next stone is you make sure that you get all the grind lines out from any previous stone. So it doesn't apply to the first stone, but the second stone, you want to make sure like for instance, I start with, let's say, 100. When I'm doing the 200, I form the burr, but then I check it to make sure that all the grind lines from that first stone are erased and are replaced with the finer grind lines of the next stone. And you keep doing that until you're completed with the whole sharpening. You can do some of that with just your naked eye, but sometimes it's a little hard to see what exactly is going on. So the first thing I started using was, it was based on some recommendations I saw online, was a loupe. These are not expensive. I got this on eBay. There's all sorts of different kinds. Not even sure who makes this, but it gives you 30x and 60x, which is actually pretty powerful. So this is your 30x and that's your 60x. I'm going to try and see if I can use this phone and this to give you an idea of what it can see. It also comes with a couple little LED lights, where one for that one and one for this one, and they are definitely bright enough. So, okay, let's try this again. Cleaned up the lens. There. So that is what the 30x looks like. And when you go to the 60x, and the 60x, the focal length gets a lot smaller, so you got to get this really close to the blade. The problem is that this thing's kind of dusty. I guess That's what I should be doing. There we go. And that's the kind of view that you get. You can see some of the different scratches. Now, the good news is that this thing on eBay is only like 12 bucks. But it ties up a hand. You pretty much have to stop sharpening. And on the wicked edge, because the knife is mounted like this, you got to get your head down here and then be looking at the blade. And that all works. And it gives you more powerful information on what's going on with the grind. The other thing with this is, to the naked eye, it's very difficult to see if you're getting any, what do you call it, microchipping, which happens, I think, to anybody who sharpens knives regularly. And with either one of these, you can see it pretty well. But anyhow, it's cheap. It gives you more than enough magnification. The bottom line with this is that it's inexpensive. It gives you a good enough view of stuff for anything you want to do. And but the bad side is that you have to stop what you're doing, and you lose a hand because you're going to be holding this, and you have to get fairly close to the blade to use all that. So I used this for several months, and I was thinking there's got to be something a little better than that. So what I did then, for a mere, I think this was like 10 bucks or something on eBay. It's called an illuminated multi-power LED head magnifier. And what it's got is it has LEDs in here, which a little bit, but if the work area is brightly lit, then this has some directional capability on it too. Kind of amazing, all the stuff that they put in here. It goes like that. The lens can be shifted back and forth. But it's got like 3 lenses. The first lens gives you 1.9x, and then I think the second one is put together is 3.8x, and then you can put the loupe in there that gives you anywhere from 6.4 to 8.3. So I think that would be 6.4, and this would be 8.3. Now those numbers are a lot less than the 30 to 60 that I was talking about earlier, but I find that when I'm sharpening, when I do the final touch-up before I move to the stones, just this 1.9x, being able to have this on my head, and one of the weaknesses of this is I could probably fix that by putting a rubber bushing in here. I have to keep tightening this, otherwise this thing on its own will come slamming down in front of my eyes. Anyhow, but it's pretty comfortable, and it gives me enough visibility when I see a scratch that needs to be taken out. I can work on it and see the scratch where I might not really be able to see it that well with my naked eye. The other thing I do is when I want to check the bevel size, I want to be really accurate about it, then I put down this second lens and get a little bit closer, and I can hold a ruler. I have a Starrett steel ruler that breaks stuff down into half a millimeter, and I can measure one side of the bevel versus the other. And I can't really show you what things look like through here, but it's quite a bit less in power than the loupe, but because you get to use both eyes, and by the way, you can also use this with glasses. You can use glasses with the other one as well. That it gives me a fuller view, an easier view, and one that I can work with. So that's that. Next step up from that is some USB cameras. And a while ago I got, and this one's not hooked up, I'll show you what the others look like. This is a Celestron handheld microscope. They still sell it. The problem I had with this is when it's working, it gives you a good view, but the LED things were intermittent, and sometimes they'd go completely out. Then I got a replacement unit, and it did some similar stuff, and sometimes the picture would go out. So at least a few years ago, these had some bad quality control issues. So I really didn't use this at all for sharpening. And by the way, this was 45 bucks. From there, what I did is I went to this one. It's made by Pluggable, and it was $35, and I used this for quite a few months. It does powers up to 250x, but when they say that, it really depends on how big your screen is. I think the actual magnification happening down here probably goes up to like 40x or something. But because you can expand the thing on your screen, it really makes the edge get big. I mean, it's a electronic kind of extrapolation of the data. So it's still probably a 40x, but because you're being able to blow it up, they say you can get 250x. Focus is controlled by this based on the distance that you're away from the blade. It came with this thing, so you can look at stuff that way, and I've kind of gone both ways on doing that. Let me show you. So I'll show you what this looks like here. Basically, you could put this up against the blade and then see what you want to see, and you can take pictures of it. So let me show you what this looks like. It's actually a fairly good portion of the blade, and you can see different things as you kind of change the light. And you can also come up here and see the edge. Sorry for the dust. And I have used this while I'm sharpening. I'm going to use it more. I had my good laptop down there, and I decided I don't want to do that. So I have a broken down old one that I'm waiting for a power adapter, and then I'll be able to use it. And like I said before, you can take pictures of this stuff. But had I been sharpening, I'd see those scratches there, and I could come back and know where it is on the blade, and then work the blade. Then what I did though is I saw a video by a guy, and I'll put it up on the screen as to who it is. And he was using this one. And it's another Celestron, but it's their Pro model, and it's 5 megapixels. I don't know if I mentioned that before. The other two were 2 megapixels. So 5 megapixels really increases the resolution, and it also comes with a calibration scale, and I'll show you how that works. First of all, let me show you what the blade looks like. And this also has better adjusting capability. The other one was on this thing is on like a flex that kind of moves around a little bit. Okay, so let me bring up the program. By the way, this was $77 on Amazon.com. So you see the scratches that are going on. You can wiggle around a little bit because sometimes, because of the lights, you don't see everything at once. And it can also do the blade edge on. It's always kind of cool to see. One of the fun things I've been doing is kind of getting it in the center and then kind of rotating it back and forth. So yeah, the quality of this is actually pretty good. You can pick the resolution you want. Let's see anything different here. And you can take pictures of this as well. But now here's the other cool thing. And they offer this thing. Each mark is 1/2 millimeter. There. And what I can do is I take a picture of this. And there is something I don't quite understand about this, because it seems like I've got to do this a couple times just to make sure it works. And there it did not. So calibration again. So there's something I'm doing wrong. But eventually I get it right. And 0.5. And then I measure again. There. So now this thing is calibrated to give me 0.5 millimeters. So what I can do now, this is the live view. I'm going to put in the knife blade. And I'm going to take a picture of it. There's the picture. And I can come here and measure. And it is 0.943 wide. And then what I can do is I can flip that over, and let's just do that. Let's just do that. Measure from here to the edge, and it is 0.882. I've already forgotten what the first one was. But I think that's within a 1/10 of a millimeter. This is kind of tedious. I think it takes a little bit more time doing it like this. What I did find when I was experimenting down the work table is that you only have to do this, I don't know, every other stone or so. Maybe you don't have to do it at all unless you're a little bit nervous about the thickness of the bevel. You can definitely use it. It doesn't take any time at all to have it on, and you just pull the thing over and measure. Excuse me, pull the thing over and take a look at the scratch pattern. So anyhow, that's what I've been using. I think there's a big jump up in the quality of the image and the ability to adjust and the ability to measure by spending an extra $30 to get the Pro version of the 5 megapixel. I know some people actually have digital microscopes. I mean, ones that get up into the hundreds of dollars, but that's definitely beyond whatever I'm ever going to need. So I hope you got some value out of this. There's going to be a lot of trimming that I had to do to get stuff out, so it's a shorter kind of video, but I think that's it for ways to view the edge as you're sharpening. Thank you. Until next time.